we're going to get to the NFL, but can I ask like maybe one question about the aggressiveness needed on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette? Do you feel like you have to have like this mindset of, I don't care who this person's talking to, I got to get in there?
Yeah, no, feel free to fire away on The Bachelorette. That's completely fine. That is a interesting part of my life, the
Yeah.
reality TV portion of it. And you do have to be aggressive, but um, different guys, the producers will help out and say, I was on The Bachelorette, so I was one of 30 guys going
Mm-hmm.
after one woman. So that's not fun. If you walk into that party, you are walking right out the door with that ratio. Okay, you are not wasting any time there. But obviously, in The Bachelorette, that's the name of the game. So yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
have to interject, and the producers will tell you to do specific things and things that will probably wouldn't be smart for your reputation, but maybe would be good for TV ratings. And some of the guys that don't know any better will go and do said things, like maybe go throw his picture of him and the girl from the date in the pool, or just go steal her from him after they've been hanging out for 2 minutes. For me, I stayed out of all that drama and kind of just was there and let the things happen naturally or organically. But a lot of times, if you do that, you'll be stuck without even meeting the Bachelorette, and you're going home. And they're like, "What happened?" Like, I didn't even get to meet the girl. So
Oh
yeah,
my
there's that.
God.
Oh, that would suck. But that's, that's how the game works, I guess. I just have one more question, technical question about filming the shows. If I could. On
Yeah.
many of these shows, A Bachelor and Bachelorette, it feels like the cameras are always running. No matter what you're doing, every single moment of your life is filmed. Are there times where the cameras are not on, or is it as it seems and they're just always on you?
Now, when you're with the lead, when you are actually with the Bachelor, the Bachelorette, the cameras are always on. And basically, what you see is what you get as far as time with that person. There's a lot of time where you're with the guys, you're hanging out at the mansion, or you're traveling, that you're just kind of, just kicking it, relaxing, that the cameras aren't on. But if you're with the lead, if you're with the girl or the guy, that's the Bachelor, the Bachelorette, they're always on. And this is embarrassing too, but I also did The Bachelor in Paradise, and there's more time where the cameras aren't necessarily on. There are cameras everywhere, but they're more like these hidden cameras and hidden cameras that we know where they're at. But it's not like the camera crew is following you around everywhere. But
Mm-hmm.
they're going to hear what you're saying and see what you're doing. But it's not as invasive because you can't see the big camera crew just following you around, everywhere you go with the light, the boom microphone, and the camera, obviously.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
All right. Well, we appreciate you indulging us for a second. So now let's get to the NFL, because that's why we brought you on. So the Bears are a team that's very easy to fall in love with. Once again, kind of was the case last year after you watch like the Hard Knocks and, Caleb Williams coming into the fold. But this year, once again, now they're making big moves. Joe Tooney is coming in to help protect Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson was the splashy hire for head coach. So are you falling in love with this year's Bears team?
And back-to-back off-season champions. We got to hang the banner. The Bears just keep winning and stacking off-seasons. I think it might be back-to-back
Right?
off-season champions. But this year, I think they're finally doing it the right way. They're finally learning. It's like that relationship in The Bachelorette where you maybe did a lot of things wrong at first, but now you're finally learning what you did wrong. And what the Bears are doing is they're building it the right way. They're not putting the roof on before they're setting the foundation. They're going and building the trenches with Jonah Jackson and Joe Tooney. Joe Tooney was actually my roommate when I was in New England. And the guy's incredible. The guy's a great player. He's a great guy. He's a leader. He's not the rah win one for the Gipper, go out there and let's kick their bleep bleep bleep. No, he's a guy that leads by example. He's in the weight room. He's in the film room. He's in the training room taking care of his body. That's why in 9 years this guy has missed 2 games. You tell me he's 32 years old, but last year he was named the team MVP for the Chiefs that have Patrick Mahomes on it. He was 10th in Offensive Player of the Year voting, and he only gave up a 3.3 sack ratio, which was the lowest in the league for an offensive guard. This guy can still play. Obviously, he's starting to head towards the back end of his career, but he is an excellent player, and he's a winner. He's won 4 Super
Mhm.
Bowls. He's played in 6. He's played for Bill Belichick. He's played for Andy Reid. This is exactly the guy the Bears need to bring in. And then I like Jonah Jackson as well. Guy's a former Pro Bowler. Maybe he's getting paid a little bit too much, $17 million for a guy that played 4 games last year. And in the last 51 games, he's only played in 29. So that's concerning. But when he's healthy, he's a guy that can play. And Ben Johnson had 4 years with him in Detroit before Jonah Jackson went to the Rams last year. He was in Detroit. Guess who else was in Detroit? Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson had eyes on him. He's a guy that worked with him personally, got to see him in practice, got to see him in the locker room, got to see him in the weight room, got to see him in the field drills. He knows exactly what kind of person and player he is getting with Jonah Jackson. There's nothing he doesn't know about this guy. So Ben Johnson trusts him. I trust him. Ben Johnson ran the best offense in the NFL last year, a top 5 offense in the NFL the past 3 seasons, and knows his stuff, knows how to run offensive football. So for me, those 2 moves were great moves.
It bodes well, too. It looks like Caleb Williams is also in favor of this, that when the NFL posted the news of this trade, he had said instantaneously liked the post. So that is looking up for the Bears as well. But the receiver market is also booming right now. And with the Bears being active in recent days, do you think someone like Christian Kirk could be a good fit for the Bears, or someone who is looking perhaps for another team right now?
No, it's funny you say that. I just on my show last night in the Chicago Sports Network, the Big Pro Football Show, little plug right there. I literally said the only guy I'd be interested in. I like Tyler Lockett. I like DK Metcalf. Just doesn't seem to make sense with what the Bears got. Obviously, you got long-term deals with DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, but they don't got a number 3 and a predominantly slot player. Christian Kirk missed 14 games the last 2 years. He had that shoulder injury last year that kept him out a lot of the year, but he is an expert in the slot when he's healthy. He catches everything. He's a technician in his route game. He is just a great teammate, hardworking guy. He's not a loud, boisterous dude. He's a guy you want on your team. Obviously, if he's healthy and you can get him at the right price, he's only 28 years old. He's not past 30, 32, Devontae Adams. You start thinking and maybe he's going to start slowing down here soon. But he's 28 years old. He has had a couple injuries, but I still think with the right price, he is worth a look. Just because Ben Johnson, you see what he was able to do last year. He needs a great slot receiver. He had Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot 80% of the time. DJ Moore can play a little slot. Rome can play a little slot, but those aren't predominantly those guys' position. Give me Christian Kirk, a guy that's an expert in the slot. That's what he does. Then I think that would be a big addition for the Bears.
Well, and that's all. One of the other questions I have about Ben Johnson is that, yes, his offense looked amazing, but look at the pieces he had on that roster. So you kind of need to build that for the Bears as well. Okay, so let's rewind to last season. It felt like the game where the Bears lost to the Commanders. That was like a turning point, and it felt like the season kind of crumbled after that. When I see the Bears signing some veterans, it feels like these are good things to maybe prevent those type of stretches from happening again. I don't know if that's on the coaches. I don't know what happened. But when you see downfalls like that from a team, sometimes it means they're young and sometimes it's on the coaching. But is there any reason to doubt this year's team when it comes to like mental toughness down the stretch? Or do you think that's a thing of the past?
I think that's a thing of the past. The first thing, Ben Johnson said when he came into Chicago was, we are going to be an accountable team. And that starts with me and the coaches, and it's going to work its way down to the players. There's no accountability. When that Hail Mary happened and Matt Eberflus gave up the 15 yards before the Hail Mary, he said, those 15 yards didn't matter. Oh, they didn't, Matt. So he was going to throw an 80-yard pass into the end zone instead of a 65-yard pass into the end zone. Like, does this guy got a bazooka on the side of his arm? There's no way that ball's getting to the end zone. Just little things like that. When Tyreek Hill is waving at the fans, not Tyreek Hill, excuse me, Tyreek Stevenson, waving at the fans when the ball is snapped and you don't bench him or really any way do anything to show him that that's not something you can do in my team. You let him go back out there. He skips one he skips literally one play in the game, one drive, and you put him right back in. No, suspend him for a couple games, create accountability with your team. It starts with you at the coaching staff, and if you create accountability, if you take accountability for what you did wrong, then the players are open to accepting that accountability, and everybody's not deflecting, and then that's how things spiral. Oh, it was his fault. It was his fault. It was his fault. Accept it. Take the accountability. We learn from it. We move on. With Ben Johnson, now you got some veteran players, especially like Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, guys that have won before. Jonah Jackson won in Detroit. Joe Thuney obviously won in New England and Kansas City. Those guys are able to lead and show accountability is the way that you get past some of these tough situations. So I don't think that'll be an issue anymore.
Yeah, so we've got like a minute left, so this needs to be quick. But what's the ceiling for the Bears team this year?
I think the ceiling is, let's make the playoffs, a playoff run. Last year I would have said, I was sipping that Kool-Aid and thought they could have made the playoffs last year. But this year I think it's a real opportunity here. Obviously, you got some more work to do in free agency. Let's get a center. Let's get some defensive linemen in here. But after that, with Ben Johnson and the staff they've put together, Dennis Allen, a defensive coordinator, I think they really have a chance to make a playoff run.
Yeah, great stuff today. If you needed to know anything about the Bears or The Bachelor, Clay's got you covered. He is a 9-year NFL vet and analyst for the Chicago Sports Network, and also hosting The Better Angle here on the BetMGM network this Saturday with Cam. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for indulging us on Bachelorette questions.
Yes. Thank you, Clay.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good luck with those FabFitFun boxes, guys.
Yes.